From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings Lalate.
It's a big early morning of Mornings LA with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why you're likely to get more months of checks. Then we turn to the fourth stimulus recon. Done. Deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. The deal has been reached that they're passing the recon and it will have a price tag of $3.5 trillion. In this recording, we'll go over some of those checks you're getting in addition to the stimulus check they represent there, including there as well. Then we turn to the exciting details of the vote, the bill, the dates, everything you need to know. And we go into the final 15 of the final 14 days of this fourth stimulus battle. Then we turn to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime, especially if you're on SSI and VA. It's in the fall. And what happened with the 10-year Treasury note yesterday? It fell. Does that impact our benefits? I'll explain. And then we cut to the big money. OMG. One viewer got $18,000 yesterday for Snap because of this channel. Oh, I have all the incredible details. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing. I am here, you're here, and someone's having $18,000 a Snap. I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for this big morning. Let's get to the details starting right now. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? How's the weather where you are? Hope you're having a beautiful day across the board. The weather is finally clearing out, and it got cooler here in Southern California. It was hot last week. It got cooler, and it's just wonderful today. But this weekend is supposed to be horrible. Oh, no. Jump in the live chat. Tell me where you're tuned in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, so much breaking news. Today's one of the big days. There's a vote. I'll explain what that vote is. But first, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why you're likely to get more months of checks. Then we cut to the $3.5 trillion. Deal done. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks. I'll explain what the checks are for. It's incredible, great news. And then we go over the voting today, the bills, the dates, everything you need to know about the final 14, and it's covered in the final 15 of this video. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up, especially if you are a veteran and Social Security or SSI and SDI. And what happened with the 10-year Treasury note yesterday? OMG. And then we cut to the big money. Yes, one viewer getting $18,000. Nisi getting $23,000. Art Sullivan getting 3 items. Viewers are getting massive sums of money. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Mornings LA at 9 a.m. Overnight's crypto comes up right after this video, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check starting right now. Well, you heard the governor of New Jersey yesterday speak out. I don't think I've heard the governor yet say that I'm considering putting masks back on until it was said yesterday. The pandemic is not over. It's officially, very officially not over. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus checks from Jalapal. Senate proposal, July to December. Let's look at the payouts, shall we? Here we go. House bill, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Senate amount monthly unknown, but word on the street, the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. 3 weeks ago, we said maybe the pandemic's not over. Then 2 weeks ago, we said the pandemic is not over. Last week, we said the pandemic is definitely not over, as the mask mandates was put back in LA County. And then this week, we are saying, OMG, the pandemic's really not over, as Delta numbers are soaring astronomically in 50 states. LA County is reporting an enormous surge across the board. It's the dominant strain, and with that, the House bill would likely pay what it's proposing. 5 monthly stimulus checks for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year, which would be more than 12 checks, which would be more than $13,000. So how does that compare to this? I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Vote House or Senate right now. There you go. Things changing very quickly. Democrats represent that if you got a third stimulus check, you get a fourth. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check if you're a single individual. 75,000 or less. Married couple, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check, double it, 150,000 or less. Family of four, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, veterans, and everyone else, you get a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is monthly. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check will be the same amount for everyone. Yes, congratulations. And the fourth stimulus check is monthly, not a waivable check. One viewer who was tuning in to my special live stream from the beach on a Sunday evening said, "Hey, Lalate, is that a check? Is that the check behind you? Wave at the check." So I waved at the check, and the check didn't wave back. And I said, "See, it's a rude check." The viewer said, "Lalate, it's not a rude check. It's just not a waivable check. Have you watched his videos?" I love when the viewers have my lines back at me. So there you go. Sorry, Mr. Check. Fourth stimulus check can still get you in the month of July for the month of July, as the Democrats represent, and in the month of August for the month of August. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the deal. $3.5 trillion of checks coming to the American people. Lots of them. I'll explain to you what are these incredible checks in this fourth stimulus recon. Then in the fifth stimulus, then in the third part of this video, we'll go with a vote. There's a vote today. But what is that vote for? Does it impact us? Does it not impact us? Is it for a bill or not for a bill? And if so, which one? And then we cut to fifth stimulus. OMG, it's in the second half of this video. Fifth stimulus will be raising your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, and VA. But what about that horrible falling 10-year Treasury note and Wall Street crashing on Monday? Does that mean we're getting less of this in December? I'll explain all the details. But first, let's get some money. Oh my goodness. When I started covering this a few weeks ago, I said for rent, I can get you $5,000. You're now getting $20,000. Viewers like Nisi got $20,000 from this channel for rent. If you got rent from this channel, post in the live chat right now. For utilities, I was saying $300. Viewers are getting $3,000 for utilities. When I talked about SNAP, I said $5,000 to $6,000. Then John got $10,000 to $12,000. Then yesterday, I believe his name was Lou, got $18,000 for SNAP because of this channel. Post in the live chat the SNAP you've got. And then finally, internet and homeowners, utilities, and mortgage assistance. Oh my goodness, the numbers you're getting are absolutely astronomical. Post in the live chat. What's going on? This is what I do here. In April of last year, this channel launched not to track checks, but to cash checks. People were not getting their EIDL loans and EIDL grants approved, so there was no check to track. So I stepped in and got their applications approved, and they got $25 million of EIDL loans to cash. Then in fall of 2020, second stimulus checks were not going out, so there was no check to track. But I got viewers $250,000 of checks to cash. Getting viewers like Tyrone $50,000 for rent in December, paying his rent for months on end. And now we're doing the same. But you're the big difference because we've never seen numbers across the board. And guess what? If you're just tuning in and you haven't gotten any money for this channel, today's your day. Get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to show you the big money you can get for across the board. You can get rent, utilities, mortgage, and homeowners utilities as well. Each place has different eligibility. You're going to reach out to several places. If one says no, don't worry. Reach out to the next. They have their own pots of money as well. Always apply. Never take yourself out of the guessing game saying maybe I don't qualify. Apply. Are you ready? Here we go. The keywords a lot of viewers tell me are critical. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. And what are those keywords? Rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or homeowners utilities because of COVID. Now, you don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or sirloin eating grass. They're like, oh, who? Sir, we don't eat grass here. That's the landscaping department. Sorry, they don't know that. So don't say words they don't know. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money for rent. If you got rent as well, post in the live chat or utilities. The next pot of the money just shocked us all yesterday on Mornings LA. I believe his name was Lou. If you're watching right now, tell me your name because it went so quickly. We were just shocked. $18,000 for Snap he got from this channel. We went from 5, then to 6,000, and then 10 to 12,000, and now we're heading to $18,000. I am so proud of you. So what is Snap? It is money for food. How much do you get it? Where do you get it? You get it from Department of Agriculture. How much does it pay? A fortune, obviously. A family of 4 in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden and one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And Ling Glenn got it for herself and her son and her mom. Gail got it as well, and you're killing it. $18,000 for Snap for one, $20,000 for rent, and we are only 10 minutes in this video, and I got more money for you right now. It's the money coming back from your states. States have been ordered to return the money back to you due to overpayment of unemployment benefits due to computer error. Where's the land direct deposit? Can you track it? Yeah. Go to call up your state and say, hey, state, where's that check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and a computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the last wonderful pot of money is the refund check from IRS. Now, if you have not posted your success stories yet in the chat, do it. Why? 3 wonderful things come from it. 1, it inspires other people to get the money. If they see all these people posting these money, they realize, wait a second, I should be getting this money. Number 2, it inspires people to get multiple sums of money. So if they see Art Sullivan and he got 3 items, then they realize, wait a second, I should get multiple items. And then finally, it also updates us about numbers. $5,000, $6,000 for Snap is wonderful. $18,000 for Snap is incredible. So we see these big ranges of number. All right, this last pile of money is the refund check due to taxes on 2020 unemployment benefits. Margaret got it, Cog got it, Michael got it as well, but we have an update from IRS. They say the latest round is being paid with an average payout of $1,265. Wow, $1,265. Direct deposit started July 14th. Paper checks started July 16th. There'll be a new wave every week. So if you are at the beach and you see the IRS, do not wave. No, there you go. How much is this? Let's say you had $9,000 in total unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you get back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go into irs.gov, do a transcript search, and it'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal stuff you wish you didn't know. It'll reveal stuff you hope people don't see. It'll reveal the tax return you file, the taxes you pay. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search, did he sing a tribute song to Chuck, a Britney melody of Slave to You? And it'll reveal the refund check you came back from IRS. Can we top that? We can, as we go into the second part of it for Stimulus Checkout Day 2021 starting right now. Deal. It's just so exciting. Deal. They've reached a deal on the price tag and that they're doing a finality of the forced stimulus. Let's go over what happened. They have reached a price tag agreement. The forced stimulus recon will be $3.5 trillion of checks for you. Just checks, and more checks. The price tag, $3.5 trillion. That deal has been reached. And the deal means that they will agree to pass the recon. There's no question about it. Wonderful, wonderful news. Now, how did we get to the spot? Because originally the recon was a behemoth, and while Chuck said he was going to call the vote by July 4th, he couldn't because it had roads and bridges in there, and the Democrats said, take them out. We will not vote in favor of that before July 4th with those roads and bridges in there. So they took it out, and they put those roads and bridges into something called the bipartisan, or infrastructure, and made the recon passable. And now it has been passed for price tag purposes. We had that confirmation from Conservative Publication, a beautiful op-ed where the author confirms my reporting. The higher the price tag was on the recon, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending and put it into the bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry, Mitch, sorry to set you up. But I think Mitch at this point doesn't worry. Why? Because the Republicans love the bipartisan infrastructure. They just love it. And they say they're getting it done. Now, when those Democrats got that $3.5 trillion price tag, they achieved everything they had been hoping for. Progressives moderates, everyone loved it. And that's what they had been asking for. Representative Richie Torres had said, we have to have a larger recon. You got it, Richie, 3.5. Congratulations. Representative Elon Omar. They have to give us a recon that goes as far as we want it. And you got it, Elon. Congratulations, 3.5 trillion. And the progressives were meeting in the White House daily, the Progressive Caucus, to get that big amount of money. They got it. How did they get to this spot? Because Jalapa and the progressives were protecting the recon. And Senator Brian Schatz had said that the president considers the priorities in the recon progressive priorities, which are also the president's priorities. Wow. So they have been protecting the recon. Let's go over what the recon is, how it gets written up, how it gets finalized, what we see and what we don't see. But first, let's start with the name. It's important to understand that I use just two names on this channel, two words on this channel, recon and bipartisan, but there's other names for it. What are those other names? You need to know them, because if you hear them from the president, you may get confused. Recon is also reconciliation. It's also the budget bill. You recognize it by price tag, 3.5 trillion, and you recognize it by its proponents, like a Bernie Sanders will be quoted in an article about the recon. Bipartisan is also called roads and bridges. It's also called infrastructure. You recognize it by its price tag, 1.5 trillion. And the people quoted in a bipartisan article are a Mitt Romney or a Kristen Sinema. All right, so what is the recon? The recon is a big bill, and there's a procedural one and a substantive. I'm just going to do the substantive one. The reconciliation bill is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. Who actually writes it? The House subcommittees. The House subcommittees, with the overseeing of the Senate subcommittee, same political party, write it up. Under the Constitution, each subcommittee of the House has different topics they cover. So, subcommittee, House Ways and Means, and the House is responsible for stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. They write that part. Each subcommittee writes their own part. Let's say there's 10 subcommittees and they write 10 pages. They're done. They send them up to Chuck. He puts an S on it for a Senate bill and makes 100. It takes a 10 of 10 and makes a 100-page bill. Done. That's the recon. You see it. But we're not going to see it before that. It's sort of like a pop singer who doesn't want you to see the songs on the album or hear them before the album's released. And so that's the way they're doing this. Mainstream media confirms my reporting that basically you're not going to see the recon until the recon's ready for vote, which is fine. It is totally different than someone who jumps in the comments and say, I haven't heard of this in the recon. Oh, well, the reason you haven't heard it is because no one's seen the recon, unless you've gone to some illegal download music website. So there you go. How do we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalapa, who had written a letter to Chuck saying, Chuck, all the vote. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of 100-plus House Democrats, who had written the president a letter saying, we're going to put monthly stimulus checks to the fourth stimulus package. OMG. Can we top that? Yes, as 7 members of that House Ways and Means subcommittee. Oh, that one? Yeah, the one I just went over. Wrote the president a letter recently saying, we're putting monthly stimulus checks to the fourth stimulus package. Whoa, they said that? Yeah, they did. And they say they're giving you a fifth stimulus check next year. Lord, now that one would not overlap. Now we have to keep them to their promise, Purple Power. We have to keep them to their promise that they do put monthly stimulus checks in there. They also wrote your third stimulus check. Wow, can we top that? We can, as the president has got it official. That global minimum corporate tax rate minimum thing is done. 4 weeks ago, the president went overseas internationally to do the ceremonial signature. Their ceremonial signature is now a finality this week because he officially signed it. What did he sign? That thing that's very hard to say. The global minimum corporate tax rate minimum. It's just a tongue twister. Why is this great news? Just because of that. It's great news because what? It's so darn confusing they don't have to put it in the recon. It makes it easier to write the recon without that confusing thing. Number 2, easier to call the vote without that confusing thing. Easier to vote on the recon without that confusing thing in there. And easier to pass the recon without that confusing thing in there. Wow, can we top that? As we can. As we go into the final 15 or the final 14, the final 15 minutes of this video will go over potentially the final 14 days of the fourth stimulus battleground. We'll go over the votes, the bills, the dates, the provisions, what's giving you $3.5 trillion of checks. It's all very exciting. Also exciting is are the volunteers. If you had problems finding that rent, internet, not the internet, food, Mortgage assistance at homeowners utilities, reach out to the volunteers. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description. You'll find the volunteers separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them and they'll help you find that money. And here they are. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds about the final 15 of the final 14. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Early Mornings LA, direct from Santa Monica, with exciting great news of the final 15 of your final 14. It's coming up. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you to hit that subscribe button right now and be part of this incredible family. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The link's under the video. Coming up after this video is Overnight's Crypto. This video will automatically take you there. And then Mornings LA at 9 a.m., followed by noontime, afternoons, and evenings. So much exciting news. Let's get right into fifth stimulus. The president, when running for the highest office in the land, promised the American people that he would deliver an SSI reform. He didn't do it. And so as a result, the Democratic caucus is putting it into the fifth stimulus. They're putting it in there for you. And what are they giving you? Everything he promised. Raising your benefits up, removing the asset limit, adding an inflationary benchmark, removing the income exclusion, and removing the marriage penalty. Let's go over all the details of how this works, starting right now. First, who gets this? You do. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, yes. SSA or multiple beneficiaries, your benefits will step up. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. Now, this is legislation that'll go to drafting about September, probably to a final vote about October, November. And then they'll apply the benchmark right after that, probably by December, for next year's benefits. What's that new benchmark? Inflation. Is inflation going up? It is. How high is it going up? Well, Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill last week and said the same thing he said the month before, that inflation will be spiking at the end of this year. Yes, that's exactly when we want it to spike, right when they apply the benchmark. He says temporary or transitory, and they'll come back down. Great news. Wall Street last week and this week so far is saying my inflation number for December, about 5%. Great. But LA, how about that 10-year Treasury note yesterday? It fell dramatically. Interest rates are falling. On Monday, on Monday, stock market crashed. Interest rates fell. 10-year Treasury note fell. Then Tuesday, stock market rebounded, but 10-year Treasury note still stayed low. Does that mean that we're not going to see that spike later this year? Answer, no. That's totally different. The 10-year Treasury note gauges growth. It gauges interest rates, whereas the inflation rate gauges prices of goods. Here's the difference. As the variant Delta surges, and there's worries that the U.S. economy will not grow but contract or slow down, then the 10-year Treasury note interest rate will fall. It won't go up to like 3%. It'll go closer to 1%. It'll go lower. That's because the economy is shrinking, and the 10-year Treasury note looks at the growth of the economy. That's all it looks at. Now, inflation doesn't look at growth. Inflation looks at how much it costs to buy milk or eggs or gasoline. And so, for example, Delta could ravage out of control in 2 months, but milk and eggs could still go up in price. That's inflation. So they're two different instruments across the board. So there you go. Let's go over the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll apply that benchmark. Let's say the benchmark is 5%, then your benefits will step up 5%, not just next year, a lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate is 1% the year after that, you'll be plus 5 plus 1%. Wonderful news. Next, they're removing the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law. This is you can't work and say you can't have more than $3,000 on hand and have some stimulus checks. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks and some Crayola crowns. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to the 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away and you'll be able to work. And finally, they're going to get rid of the marriage penalty. Love is going to win and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer fear loss of benefits and no longer be penalized by the marriage penalty. It's not retroactive, but viewers like Rob and Sandy will no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. Now, what else with fifth stimulus? Yeah, those House Ways and Means Subcommittee members represent they're going to give you a fifth stimulus check next year. It would not overlap with fourth. Next, the president has dedicated $1 million to Social Security Administration to ensure your checks come out on time. Great. Third, if you're missing a first, second, or third stimulus check, you must file a tax return and request it on the tax return. If you haven't done both, reach out to a tax preparer. And then finally, if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Where is the member link? Under the video where it says join now. It's also at the top of the chat and in the description of this video. By becoming a member, you get access to all the incredible details about all this money. If you see people in the live chat who are Purple Hawk emoji owners, that's because they're members. Now, when second stimulus passed and there was a $600 stimulus check, I said, yeah, this is a $600 check, but I'm going to get you $6,000. Well, I got Tyrone $15,000. And when fourth stimulus passed, I said, yeah, there's a $14 stimulus check. I'll get you $14,000. Well, you saw in this video, I got one viewer $18,000 for SNAP and another viewer $23,000 for 2 items. And that's what's important, is that this money is available for you. You need to get it. It's all there for you, given for you. So go get it. Daily, I deliver to the members of the channel a breakdown of all the big money that's in third stimulus. And so consider becoming a member. And there you go. Time for the final 15 of the final 14 starting right now. Now, I cannot guarantee that there's only 14 days left to the fourth stimulus battleground, but it's looking like it's near the finish line. And so that's why I call this the final 15 minutes of this video, going over the final 14. Here's what you need to know. We're going to start with the recon and then go over the bipartisan and then back to the recon. First, deal. Yes, there is a deal magnitude that's enormous. First, a deal agreeing that they're passing a recon as a family. Now, they have not voted on the recon, but they're agreeing that they will pass it. And they have also agreed upon its price tag. $3.5 trillion. Senator Tim Kaine says this is historic because all you have to do at this point now is slot the numbers into the provisions of the different programs. He says agreeing upon the price tag is critical, and that's huge. Number 2, it's big achievement, wonderful news because the number is so big. Bernie Sanders talked about this. He went into the negotiations asking for $7 trillion, but agreed upon 3.5 and walked out celebrating. Why? Because he says he got all his programs funded just for last year's. Obviously, 3.5 is half the time of 7 years, $7 trillion. Very obvious to that. The progressives, the Democrats, the moderate Democrats, everyone is ecstatic with this $3.5 trillion. What is this $3.5 trillion? Well, in addition to the representation they're giving you stimulus checks, there's some of the details surfacing about what some of these other recon items are. This is not the entire list. It's just a list of some of the $3.5 trillion. Remember, this is all checks for you. Checks of all different types of checks. Confirmed now under the $3.5 trillion price tag. What are those checks? Here are some of them. Free school meals for all checks. Tax break checks. Cheaper prescription medication checks. Immigration reform checks. Greener farming checks. Money for elections checks. Internet checks. They're going to be sending fortunes to local cities so they can have free internet for you. And then clean energy checks, worker protection checks. Now here come all the exciting details. Checks for workers and checks for seniors. First, checks for workers, checks for independent contractors, unions, collective bargaining, and then checks for my seniors. Here you go, the checks for my seniors. There is checks for Medicare expansion, checks for eligibility for seniors, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. Wow, that is wonderful. Next, let's cut over to the bipartisan. The bipartisan is getting wonderful because they say they're practically done. Last Thursday, they said, hey, we have almost all the deal provisions done, and we're working over the weekend. And that once we're done, all we have to do is put in the bill format. Who said this? Mitt Romney, one of the fastest individuals for doing deals in Congress. He just writes quickly. He does deals quickly. Everything he does is quick. It's excellent. And what did he also say? That the final vote on the infrastructure bipartisan bill will be this week. What? Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think it's going to happen next week. Mainstream media thinks it's going to happen next week. But this is great news for us because why? Because the recon gets voted on first, which means that the recon vote would be potentially as early as this week, if not next week. OMG. Now let's go over all the details of that. Remember, the recon has to go for a vote before the bipartisan, so it could start voting as early as this week, if not next week. Number two. It's important to note that there's 12 voting steps. It doesn't take 12 days. 3 rounds of 4 votes. First, Senate subcommittee, Senate floor, then House, then President. Great news. Now, let's go to the exciting details of what's happening today. It was initially supposed to happen yesterday. Then it's supposed to happen today. Who knows? Maybe it gets moved to tomorrow. Chuck Schumer's calling a vote today, he represents. And I'll explain that vote to you. I'm going to slow it down so you understand it. What's the vote for? The vote by Chuck Schumer is to end discussion and negotiation on the bipartisan infrastructure in the next few days. Let's say that again. It's to end negotiation and talk of the bipartisan. It's not a vote on the bill. It's to end discussion about it. When that day? No, in a few days. Okay, that's pretty easy to follow. I got it. Not difficult. Now, well, past? No, absolutely not. They don't want to be told that. They don't want to be told to rush. But it's working. He's trying to put fire under their feet, and it's working. They are rushing. They worked all weekend long. And this is great news because they say, hey, maybe we'll get the vote done this week. Great news. Now, here's what is important for you to know, is that I 155% predict that throughout the today, or about tomorrow, throughout the whole week, there's going to be some people that sort of buzz through like a bad bug. Bzzz, and they're going to sort of land and say, I heard. And suddenly they think they have more information that none of us have heard. That suddenly this person is sort of like the heaven-sent source of information. And guess what? When you read what they write, it's totally wrong. They have absolutely know what they're doing, idea what they're saying. So this is what I want you to anticipate you're going to see in some crazy comments this week. You're going to see someone say, I heard Chuck call the vote on the bipartisan bill. No, he didn't. He called a vote to end the discussion about the bipartisan. Oh, well, what's the difference? There's a big difference. Well, I heard Chuck Schumer call the vote on something, and it failed. So you're not getting anything. No, he didn't call a vote on a bill. He didn't call a vote on a recon. And then there'll be people who says they call a vote on the recon, which he didn't do either. They're going to say, I saw Chuck Schumer call a vote on the recon, and it failed. So you're not getting anything. No, he didn't call a vote on the recon. He didn't call a vote on a bill either. And then they'll do something like, I didn't hear my favorite line. I didn't hear, hence it doesn't exist. I heard Chuck call a vote on something. I don't know what it was. They didn't mention stimulus, and hence it doesn't exist. Because they didn't call a vote on stimulus. They got a vote on roads and bridges. So there you go. It's important to know that as you go into these final 14 days, things move very quickly. In fact, they speed up. And as they speed up, you have to push more. What is a purple power push? It's pushing. It's not asking questions. Here is the difference of donut guy versus purple power push. Donut guy, when? When's it? When's it check? When's this? When's it coming? When's it? Ugh. Purple power push is pushing. Hey, bipartisan, what's taking so long? Bipartisan, get it done. Bipartisan, you're taking too long. Get it done. Write your bill. Bipartisan, call the vote. Nancy, call the vote on the recon. This is taking too long. That's how purple power push pushes. It's the difference between asking a lot of whens. Here's an example. In April of last year, Nancy Pelosi debuted the HEROES Act, a behemoth that was supposed to be a second stimulus check. Was not happening. By December, I had enough, and I looked at it and said, hey, this is ridiculous. There's a continuing resolution bill. Maybe we can put a stimulus check in there. And I said, let's come up with the idea of CR for stimulus. Let's put a stimulus check in this continuing resolution bill that pays for the federal government's operation. People thought, are you crazy? Oh, he's from LA. Yeah. Who puts a stimulus check for the American people in a budget bill for the government? Well, after a few days of Purple Power pushing, they got the message. It went trendy nationally, and they said, yeah, we'll put some stimulus in there. And we said, yay, congratulations. Then after a few days, we saw it, and they were like, oh, no, they put the wrong stimulus in there. Darn it. They put unemployment stimulus in there. So we had to push again, Purple Power push again. And we pushed, and we woke up one morning, and the stimulus check was in there. But over the next day and a half, that check went all over the place. It went up in value, lower in value, out in eligibility, lower in eligibility, out of the provision, back in the provision. Finally, it settled in. It was perfect, and we could relax for just a minute until Senator Pat Toomey came out of nowhere. And so I said, I'm going to implode this whole CR for stimulus because there's something wrong, not about the stimulus package, but something else. And we said, really? After all this work? And then Mitt Romney came out to rescue us and finally got it done. That's an example of what you see in the final days. What you're going to see is you're going to eventually see the recon bill debuted with a big S on it. What did the House members say yesterday? I am not kidding. This is their line. They said, we are not a cheap date. What are they referring to? They basically are saying, you don't think that we aren't going to modify stuff. You give us whatever you got from the Senate. We're going to change it up however we want to change it up. Yes, I love that. Because when we see that reconciliation, we may see it and we may want to make changes. Maybe it doesn't have it in there. Maybe it does have it in there. Maybe the amount is wrong. Maybe something's wrong. Maybe the eligibility has been changed. Maybe that's just sort of all sort of strange. And ultimately, the House has already said yesterday they're going to start chopping and copping and adding and dicing and spicing. So we love that. Meantime, it's not particularly clear if it goes back to the Senate for a vote-a-rama 2 days at the end. I believe it does. So there's opportunity to modify it there as well. Finally, a personal message. This is a family. This is a family of informed people. And I really love how you love information. In April of last year, people's EIDL loans and grants were stuck. They were stuck in a vortex. How do you get applications that are stuck for weeks and weeks and weeks approved? I had to surgically go through them and figure out, do this, do that, do this, do that, and modify this and modify that, and then I'll get approved. And I recorded those videos. And then people took the information, took notes, and then said, oh my God, I got approved. That's how you love information. The next few days is going to be people who don't like information that are sort of going to buzz through here. And someone who buzzes through here and says something negative, like, I don't know. We're almost at the end of July. What do you think about a check by July? That's one type of comment. I got that. But that's not how it happened on Early Mornings LA yesterday. On Early Mornings LA yesterday, a viewer went into the comments and started attacking other viewers. Literally attacking other viewers, going after them. That is not a member. That was not a subscriber. It was just crazy. If you see that happening where you are the victim of being attacked by a person, or you see a viewer attacking other people in the chat, you can report them. You go to the end of the description of that person, the end of the line of that where that person's commenting, where it's making that comment, you touch the button, it'll open up a pop-up screen. It'll say report. If you believe you're a victim or someone else is a victim of being harassed or bullied, then report that person. Report that person when that person really is going beyond anything you've ever seen. And that's what happened on Early Mornings LA yesterday. And when you report that individual could be banned not just from this channel within seconds, but the whole platform. Ironically, when I was reporting this on Mornings LA yesterday, after it happened on Early Mornings LA, another person did the same thing. Not the time and place to allow something like that. So ultimately, remember, you have that opportunity to take care of that situation when it happens. Remember, that's different than a person saying, I don't know if the check's going to come in July. That's just one type of comment. This is where someone's literally going after people and calling them names. Unacceptable, and you need to stop it when you see it. And with that, there's going to be a lot of excitement today, a lot of excitement this weekend. They worked last weekend. They're going to work this weekend. We're really down to the final stretch, so make sure you push Purple Power. Remember, across the land, there's $3.5 trillion of checks for you in there. We need to ensure that there's lots of checks for us of all types of magnitude. We've already seen some of them. We want to see all of them. And hopefully, they are absolutely all deliciousness. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, too. 3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member so you get delivered to you all the big money that's available in Third Stimulus because you are deserving of it. Save this video. It'll take you automatically to Overnight's crypto currently playing on the channel. And I'll see you at 9 o'clock on Mornings LA. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay LA.